Hello, I'm Uncle Roy. I'm a solutions architect here at Online Partner, and today I will talk to you about BigQuery's data preparation service. And we're going to take a peek into data preparation from a place that we'll go into in a future video, which is data pipeline. So we are going to start the data prep directly from the data pipeline, and we're going to get you into how to prepare your data. So what I'm talking about with data preparation is the reduction of data, or the filtration down from a very large table full of data that you may or may not need, down to very specifics of data that you need based on filtration, joins, dropping columns, and just removing all the data that you don't need to have like a refined data that you can query. And of course, remember in Google Cloud, the larger your query is, the more you pay. So it's worth it to have a smaller query. So let's get into it first, directly from the data pipeline. So we're going to use the same data set that we used in the previous video, which is the natality data set. And you see a lot of those adding up. And you see it is the same schema. It is the same data set. And there's a few others like it in our database, which is why you see all of those other ones. But we've added it as a source now. And you see here, it is loading because it is quite a bit of data, which is why we need to prepare it. We need to reduce it down. So yes, let's look at the data here. The first thing that we'll try and change here is the year, the source year for the information. So we are going to filter that down. We're going to use some AI suggestions again here, just to show you how to use them. And we will filter down to the point of years after the year 2000. So all of this data will be after the year 2000. And we have 7,000 rows per page, 7,278. Now let's apply that filter and see what happens. There you go. It's reduced down to 1,687. Nothing after the year, or like before the year 2000. And yeah, yes, let's see. We are also getting more suggestions on what to use here from the AI. For example, it's asking that the source year be between 2000 and 2024, because that's the years that it has identified in the source year. And you see the expression, it wants you to change the data type to a more efficient data type. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. So, for example, you see when we switch the columns, it'll give you a new suggestion based on the column that we switch to. For example, here, month between 1 and 12. Even though all months are between 1 and 12, it will give you certain suggestions, and then you can modify those suggestions, as you see here. So you can see the applied steps that we have here. And now we're going to apply a new step, just to show you how we can reduce the data even further. We see we are at 1,600 rows right now, 1,687. And now we're going to do a bit of a strange call, but the AI understands this anyways. Like male is false, which it has interpreted as is male false. So if the male, that would essentially mean is if the child is a female. And you see that has reduced us down to 803. And you can see all of these other columns. We don't need some of these columns. So we will be dropping them shortly. But first we'll look at which column to drop. Yeah, it's giving us some suggestions which are a little strange. Like the state being empty, the mother resident state being empty. But yeah, we'll choose the state empty one, because that can happen sometimes. Just like and it is quite frequent in this data set. And you see we have reduced it down to 407. Now why this is important is basically if there is no state, you can't really count the number of children based on that state. But yes, it's one of those suggestions, and it allowed us to reduce a data set. So yes, you saw it allowed us to reduce a data set from 7,200 rows down to 400 based on certain parameters. We may have selected the parameters a little randomly, but like if we did select with a purpose, it would be the same thing. It's whatever purpose that you are using the data preparation for. And again, as you saw, it's all visual and AI assisted. So it's pretty easy, pretty intuitive to use even for the layman. And the main thing that you would need to know in this regard, of course, is concepts of why data is prepared, why data is reduced. And like I said, the biggest factor in terms of BigQuery is the cost, because you pay for every second that your data is queried. So the less seconds that you have, the more queries that you can do for the smaller data set. And of course, where we're talking about data pipeline, a pipeline will essentially, whenever you have a new data set that is similar to the old data set, you can reuse the pipeline to create that same data preparation for the new set as well. So it adds reusability, it adds a way to automate the preparation of your data. But that's something that we will talk about in a future video. I hope that was insightful for you. Thank you for watching.